now simultaneously on three. This is June Hamid, and I'm here today with my esteemed guests. We have Melanie Chuah, Shobah Roy, and Vanitha in the studio with us. So we're waiting. We're waiting for people to come by, and I can see we're live in three of our channels. Okay, on our Voices, on Win Group, and also on our YouTube channel. So okay, we have people coming in. We have a few now I can see. So welcome to our live session on StreamYard. It's entitled Are You Okay? And we're going to be talking on mental wellness, mental health. And definitely there's going to be a lot of things we're going to be talking about. And it's really about how do we help each other, okay? And how do we equip each other to manage all the challenges that we're going through. Hello, hi. I can see our first hi. Welcome. Please come in and be part of this live. Of course, it's pre-recorded and it's going to be, even if you can't catch the live show. So welcome. And hi, Gwyneth. Hello. Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of people now. We have 42 and plus. So we'll start. Okay, so welcome, everybody, once again. And we have in the house Vanitha Krishnasamy and mental health advocate. We have Shobah Roy, feminine divine wellness. We have Melanie Chua, who is a counselor, healer. And, these three wonderful ladies have decided to help me out to discuss a very important topic in the sense of, talking about mental wellness and how we can navigate this storm of challenges. I mean, we're going through quite a bit now, even as we are all confined to our houses, in the current movement control order. So this is the best time to reach out and see what can we do to remove some of this stigma associated with saying and admitting that you are okay when basically some themselves. We'll start with Vanita. So let's start this introduction. And let's start with Vanitha, Shobha, and then followed by Melanie.
Hi everyone, this is Anita here. How are you doing? I know we're back in another lockdown, MCO again. So when June kind of came up and said, she's going to do this, I kind of, I was really excited and I jumped into it. I know it has not been the greatest of times at the moment. We've been going through this for the last almost a year right now. As much as we want to see the light at the end of the tunnel, it has been, a challenge, really, up and down, up and down. And I think a lot of us have already been seeing the effects of all these things. And I'm so at this stage, I think, I understand that a lot of people are really, really experiencing mental health issues already. And that's exactly why we're here to talk about it. And I'm so glad to be part of this. So thank you.
Hi, namaste. I'm Shobah. Can I continue? Yeah. So thanks, June, and thanks to be with these wonderful ladies tonight, and thanks for all of you for tuning in. So, as what Vanitha just said, this is a time that is not probably the ideal for many of us, and most of us are still trying to get our bearings right. Okay, so I think it's a very timely, decision to have such a conversation, and I will be sharing some perspectives from what I work with something that's even more subtle. So over to you, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Shobha. So when the first MCO started, my as part of the mental health community, the part of the professionals, we were in this interesting limbo because we know that the second wave of pandemic is not the pandemic per se, but it's mental health issues. And true enough, in my practice, one of the challenges that I hear is isolation and lack of boundaries. They do not know where work starts and work ends, okay? And coupled with, of course, the financial constraints. And on a more deeper level, all the dashed hopes the dashed dreams, relationships ending in the middle of the pandemic, and how do they cope with it. So when we saw the rise of cases, I thought, okay, here we go again. All right. When the MCO was called for, we my colleagues and I were not surprised actually, because it is what it is, and therefore at this round of time, at least everyone's comfortable doing sessions online. If I were to compare back in 2019 and now, it's like night and day. People actually prefer to do online, okay, unless they're too tired to stay at home, then they go and find the therapists and the professionals in their clinics. So at this MCO hit particularly hard because number one, it's at the start of the year. And secondly, Chinese New Year is just around the corner, and there has been news, okay, or speculation that the lockdown might be extended to up till then. So once again, a lot of dashed hopes and whatnot. So I'll be sharing a little bit about um, how it's like, being uh, a mental health first aider as well as a counselor in this pandemic, and what are the ways that we as a community can unite in order to make it a smooth transition for all. So back to you, Jude.
Okay, wonderful. That's a fantastic introduction from our panel of esteemed ladies here. I mean, the commonality that binds us all together is that we are passionate and we're committed to debunking some of the myths and stigma surrounding this very sensitive topic. It has with it its controversial aspects because, whatever happens at home stays at home. You can't talk about feelings and so on. So I like how and I thought, I want to be able to also give back and unleash this the potential towards reducing and in fact bringing up all these issues, and the conversation is about that. It's really about having in your hands proper tools and techniques, and looking at how we can manage some of these very interesting, challenging topics. So I do mediation and I do a lot of coaching, supporting, mentoring of others. So I want to equip them. I don't want to only just give them the solutions or give them fish. We are here collectively because we want to teach them to fish and to also manage with themselves accordingly, So that's the idea here. So I really like what you've said, Melanie, and perhaps we'll start with you and then we'll go back on a round table again, or as and when somebody sees any particular situations they want to highlight, please jump in. So really, with that, Melanie, I thought I'd ask the question like, what does "Are you okay"?
What? So the question is, what does "Are you okay" mean to me?
So
Okay.
in terms of "Are you okay," what does it mean to you? And when do you think
Mhm.
this is the right time to ask this of another in your professional and personal capacity? What is your take on this question? Are you okay?
Okay, that is a powerful question because, I mean, to be honest, it has been used as formalities, or courtesy based. Okay, and only recently people are starting to ask it with genuineness and sincerity. So for me, as a professional, okay, I don't really use it because the automatic answer for a lot of people will say, I'm doing okay, especially in the Asian setting where we are conditioned to appear normal or appear all right. But in
Mhm.
fact, deep down, there is a turbulent storm that's going in.
Yeah.
Um, so, um, on a personal basis, however, it's actually a powerful question because it's basically an act of reaching out from another human to another human being to say that, hey, we are going through this together. You're not, and despite the distance, there is the blessing and privilege of technology now. So, would you like to talk? So,
Yes.
um, I would say like the word "are you," I mean not the word, forgive me. The sentence "are you okay" has been given a fresh breath of air that is now been seen as a form of communication, care, and concern. So this is how how it appears to me and what it means to me. So back to you, June.
Okay, wonderful. So that the rest of you, I mean, you may jump in and you may give also your opinion. But thank you very much, Melanie. I think you've hit it on the nail, and I'd like to hear from our two other esteemed panel members on, what does this mean, in terms of like, are you okay, and is it all right now to say this and extend it to another, and say this even. So anyone, Shobha or Vanitha, at this point, you want to jump in and add to this, in any particular, Shobha or Vanitha? Who would like
Shobah,
to
go
go
ahead.
first?
Shobah, do you like to go first?
No, you can go first.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
So, well, oh my God, yes, I know. So the thing is, with the whole mental health issue, right? It's not something that has just kind of cropped up. I think right now more than ever, people are just a little bit more sensitive towards it, and I feel that we must be sensitive towards it. We've been going through a lot of things, all our lives. A lot of us have been going through it. Someone told me recently, she said to me that, we are all a little bit depressed. We all are, and maybe before we had the tools to be able to deal with this, things were different. We lived in very different times before. I would say, like before COVID, so BC. So, we lived in a very different time. We had tools to deal with it. We could go out, hang out with our friends, perhaps, call someone, go for a quick coffee. We had work. We had, we had that kind of interaction. So that could have helped us in so many ways. But right now, we are in a place where it is so different, so unprecedented that we need to do things differently. So mental health issue is no longer something that should be swept under the carpet, cannot speak about, having Asian mentality. If I talk about it, then people are going to think I'm mad. You're not mad. Nobody is, or maybe we all are a little bit, but really at the end of the day, we are not. We are all going through this. I tell everyone, you are in the same boat. All of us are in the same boat, probably riding different waves, but we are in the same boat. We are all going through one thing or another. So it's so important to be, to be able to speak about it, to put it out there. There is no stigma to it. And again, like Melanie said, the "Are you okay?" is a very powerful statement. That was a campaign that was created. It is okay not to be okay. Because at the end of the day, how are you? Are you okay? We all need to be able to band ourselves together and tell ourselves that we need to be kinder. We need to be more empathetic. There is no more people telling you that, oh no, hang on, then what about your reputation and what about this? There is none of that anymore, people. Number one, I know CEOs of big companies who now basically closed their companies and driving Grab. Some people have zero money. They've just wiped out their savings. People are going through domestic violence. People are going through separations. People are going through, crazy things like, banks are hounding them. They have zero money. I recently had a personal friend who actually told me, and this is so, this was scary. One morning, sitting down with her, this was, pre-MCO, maybe in December, she's sitting next to me and she told me, she said, she lives on a high floor in a condo, and she said, my balcony looks very inviting. My balcony looks very inviting, and that is not even something to be taken lightly. I could have said to her, come on, it's just a joke. We could have probably said that maybe 1-2 years ago, and things were different. Maybe we could say, no, you're just joking, but not anymore. 1 in 3 out of Malaysians are going through mental health illness or mental or depression or any issue that is mental health related. 1 in 3. That is a scary number. And, Ministry of Health says that mental health is the second biggest health issue after heart issue in the last year. Okay, so it's number 2. Okay, number 2. So it's not anything to be afraid of. You're not even, please just reach out. That's why we are here to talk about it.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Vanitha. I mean, that's true. And you've been very vocal and powerful with the Raw and Uncut series, and your take on fact, you're a moderator with our voices, and I see how you are passionate and you're on the ground. I mean, we are not. I mean, apart from Melanie, who is a practitioner, I mean, the three of us, we're not
Not
so.
professionals.
Yeah,
I'm just
we
holding on to her line. Okay, yes.
no, we are professionals in a lot of other areas, except for a specific qualification in mental wellness. Let me qualify that statement. But we are professionals, of course. Yes.
Yes.
So the thing is, here we are also having a lot of this in our hands, and we try and get them gently forward to get help. Because there's only so much me personally as a life coach and an NLP coach and so on can do when I find that they need, in fact, far more significant help in terms of mental wellness and psychologists and life coaching and so on. So we've actually added a string of articles and references for people to get help, and I believe some have started to do so, and that's really our first call. So thank you, Vanitha. So Shobha, so what do you think about that question? What is okay? What is the word? Are you okay? What does it mean to you? And when do you think you can ask this of another?
Okay, okay to me, from what I look at it, all those kind of vibes, and I mean, people do confide in me as well. And to me, that's a very, at the moment, sensitive sentence. And yet, it is something that cannot be just left under the carpet because this is something very real. So a lot of them, how I capture, I ask them, are you okay? Because when we are on social media, we look at Instagram, we look at Facebook, people just come up with some messages, they come up with some status, and sometimes I take the lead, especially if I have a confident relationship with these people. What I do is that I ask them, like, how are you and blah blah, and then are you okay? The question pops out from me. And then you will just be like, I'll be amazed that actually not so okay. I would say, I'm glad you asked because I really didn't know who to speak to about this. So I think being a hypnotherapist, an LP practitioner, and now more doing work into the subtle energy, the kind of feminine wellness, I think I am able to pick this up. It's kind of like the frequency thing. And as what Vanitha said, a lot of them have even said, yes, I really don't know what to do. I don't know what to how to feed my kids and things like that. But it takes a while for them to actually open up. There's this thing called the image, the ego, or image, whichever way you want to put it. And I have to admit, in March, because I have a retail store, I have my overheads and my fixed costs and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, unexpected, and that first week, it took me a while to find my equilibrium. I was like losing it as well. The fear of the future, not knowing the future and what's going to happen to your rise is, I think, one of the biggest fear right now. And to go on with Vanita's point, the higher level that you are at, the more difficult it's going to be. So because your bills, your overheads, your image, everything comes to play. So I would definitely, when I speak to these ladies, I tell them to first go within themselves. See, you can talk to people, you have to, but some people just find it very difficult. But you can talk to professionals, like if they know. But some people are so afraid to be tagged. Like it's people are going to judge me. They're going to think that I'm not okay. They're going to think that I have some mental issues. This is the
Yeah.
main thing. And I know so many people who are like that. So I try to talk to them in terms of like doing meditation, doing within themselves, putting up lists, trying to prioritize. And if you just need anything, I'm not a professional, something, just talk to me as a friend. So that way, I think in this past 6, 7, 8 months, I've lost count. I do not want to count. Actually, it's pretty long. Yeah, I have actually managed to speak to a lot of women without anyone having to know about it, and sometimes even their own family members. They keep it PNC, and that's how we keep it right now. So yeah, are you okay? We got to ask ourselves. In a day, I would ask myself every time if I'm feeling a little down, if I'm feeling that anxiety and the anxious feeling is kicking in, I go within myself, I take deep breaths, and I ask myself, Shobha, are you okay? And I think that's the most basic thing everyone has to start doing to check yourself. It's like a graph. You could probably even plot a graph. yeah, that's how I look at this whole thing right now.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shobha. And I really like what you've said. And it's very clear for you in the work that you're doing also. And I think with feminine divine, it's about divinity, which can we also extend that to masculine divine wellness? Are we
Certainly, certainly,
feminine,
because
masculine,
when we
and
go
very
inside,
diverse? So we have all
yeah,
that, right?
when we go inside, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. Inside is still inside of you. So we always speak about mind, body, and soul. So who is this mind? Who's this soul? It's pretty much neutral. It doesn't have an agenda.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. So, I think all of you have touched on this question, and I just want to reiterate this. Why do you think it's important to get professional help when it comes to those having mental health issues?
Mental health issues.
Yeah,
Okay,
mental health issues. You know, there's levels. I mean, there's feeling down, and then there's feeling a slight depression, and then you go into acute depression. So the feeling down, even, there's something about help, and then professional help, and then the next level too. But then why is it important to get help, even if it's help firstly and then professional help? Because what are the potential effects of just putting it under the carpet or letting it get by? So perhaps at this point, if we can get Shobha, and then we'll go back in the same way, Shobha, Vanitha, and Melanie. Why is it important to get proper help in
First
the
of
first
all,
instance?
yeah, first of all, it's because we are now encountering so much of trials and turbulences, and we start becoming worried, and then anxious, and anxiety attack, panic attacks. We start becoming negative. To put it in a nutshell. Now we are not living alone. Some of us are, but some of us are also living with our families, and they will bring in like your husband, your spouse. If he's not doing well, like in my case, my husband is also a businessman, and his business is also very badly hit. So imagine one individual A, and then you live with one individual B, and then you have your kids. And the whole thing is all about negativity and nothing but negativity and worry and doubt and fear. So you keep going on like this, and then it just becomes overwhelming at one point of time. It was probably not so bad at the beginning, but the more you listen to your spouse or your family members and your neighbors and somebody who calls you, it's like a real thing. And we cannot forget what's happening around is collected by the environment because this is collective consciousness. So when you
Yeah,
talk about collective consciousness, it does not just affect you as an individual or your family, it affects your entire neighborhood, your entire family members, your entire kampong, and then your entire country, and then the entire world globally. So then this thing is going to be really difficult if you don't address it. Make your defenses, meaning build your defenses with more positivity, seek for help, and then start somewhere, and at least you know how to defend yourself and shield yourself from these things, and then see next thing what you need to take action on to move on. If I was thinking at a point, I'm going to sell nasi lemak, and I was actually making nasi lemaks. I'm a
and I'll buy the
vegetarian.
nasi lemak from you. Yes.
So sweet. Yeah, because I'm a vegetarian, so we came up with this vegan nasi lemak. I started measuring the sambal, the thing, and how much is the costing, how much could I sell it. Why? Because I
Do it.
cannot just
Just do it as a pilot. I will watch to see. It may be your next venture.
yeah, and we actually sold it to some close people, and we liked it. So we were already on that. So why? Why? Because our mind should not control us. But when we start doing actions, we become productive. You start becoming productive. It's like a workout, right? When you start
Yeah.
becoming productive, your entire cells and molecules in your system vibrates accordingly, and your mind starts becoming more positive, and you
Yeah.
start looking forward. So that
Yeah.
way, as an entrepreneur, anybody can start selling anything. That's the good thing about this whole thing, actually, also.
Yeah.
So let's not just focus on the bad thing. I used to tell people who come for like opinions and coaching, look at the positive things that you can do. Yeah. So this is so important. It happened in my life as well.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And yes, we're going to get some of the nasi lemak soon. So,
Mm.
Vanita, what do you think? I mean, why is it important to get that help immediately and before and so on? Share with us.
Well, this is the thing, like I said before, we are all in it. It is a very difficult time. I've gone through it. I have been going through it. I am going through it. So, there's always like this ups and downs. Sometimes we may not necessarily know exactly what is wrong, but, I feel this is the thing, a lot of us, if we already had issues prior this whole, pandemic, we could have had our trauma, whatever issues that we've already been going through, the pandemic just amplifies it. And I'm sure Melanie would agree with me. It just amplifies everything that you've already put in there. Like I said before, if it was before you were already slightly, having some kind of mental issues or going through depression, it may not have been so out there because, you have your friends, you can go out, you can do a lot of different things. You're not just, within confined spaces. But now all that, pent up or whatever, that has been underlying issues are all going to kind of pop up. And that is why we see a lot of different cases about what's happening to people. And that's okay. It's okay if it is, because at the end of the day, nobody expected this pandemic to happen. So none of us were prepared. So we don't really know, right? And we don't even know tomorrow. That's the kind of world we live in right now. We don't even know what's going to happen, like, let alone happen next month or the month after. So everybody needs to take stock. Like, okay, great. If you have a little bit of that strength and you can, pivot yourself, probably like, Shobah said, nasi lemak and all that, great. But if you can't, some of us may not. Some of us may be so deep down that rabbit hole, we don't even know how to come out. Then just pick up the phone, call someone. And when somebody is calling you on the other side, when someone is calling you for help, don't necessarily tell them, okay, here, this is what you will do. Listen to me. I'll say this and I'll say that. And here, blah, blah, blah. Here are the steps. Don't. Just say to them, I'm here. Talk to me. Change that and say, I am here, talk to me. That's all you have to do. You don't have to go and force feed them with all the things that you think, and judge them and say, yeah, that's why you're like that, because you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Come on. I know so many instances of people telling me why they don't talk. The moment they want to start talking, the moment they want to start opening up, people start throwing all their so-called values and thoughts and everything. They start judging them, and all this thing about, you listen to me, I'm going to tell you this, and you didn't do this right, and you didn't do that, is not necessary. It doesn't matter. I mean, for me, as far as I'm concerned, 2019 is pretty much wiped out in my books. Okay, I don't even remember 2019, right? I'm almost like in the AD, like I'm really kind of looking at 2020 and then onwards, a whole different me, a whole different self, because we don't know what's going to happen as well again, so let's do things differently. Again, I keep repeating this word, be kinder, be more empathetic. All that is so important right now. We don't know better, and don't do this I know it all thing, and why you need help, because it is so important right now. Help, that's the only thing you can actually get. If you want to get out of this, want to get out of your state that is down, deep down, please get help. Reach out to even a friend. If you cannot, you don't want to go see a specialist or, any one of those professionals, then just reach out to a friend, someone you trust. If you can't, there's 4 of us here, you can reach out to us, okay? Not that, again, like we are professionals, that we can help, we can reach out. And now when people reach out to me, I always kind of leave them to I leave them to the professionals. I'm not a professional, and neither is Shobah nor June. But yeah, we can all move it down to Melanie. Melanie is right there, okay?
Yes.
So,
Melanie,
yeah.
Again, first.
Again, MOH says, mental health issues is the second biggest health issue right now after, heart problems. So
yes,
please go get help. It's so important.
Okay, wonderful. So Melanie, so I will now thank you very much, Vanitha, for that, and I really like the breadth and depth of answering that question. So let's go to Melanie. What is your take on why is it important to get help in the first place, and then of course go into the professional help paradigm?
Okay, thank you. I really love the input from both Shobah and Vanitha because it really paints a whole picture of, I would say, the behavior of seeking help. Okay, so first and foremost, I know my profession as a counselor is a rather intimidating profession. Okay, we are yes, the destigmatization process has been ongoing for a few years, but still deep within the DNA lah, or in the bone or the cell lah, say like mental health are you how lah okay, no, and so this is where I noticed that people tend to seek help among their closer circles. So like both I mean the three of you, Jude, Vanitha, and Shobah, you are the leaders of your own community. You have your own practice, okay? And somehow or rather, because you're seen as that, you are seen as an authority figure, and they trust you. They come to you first. Okay. And three of you, you are more or less know the art of listening and listening well. Therefore, they are more than willing to open up. Okay. And the only line, I would say, that line where you know that okay, it's time to pass it on to either a counselor or even to a psychiatrist, is when you see that your daily functioning activities are just that, you know, you're not functioning, you're not sleeping well, you're not showered for days, you're not eating well, going out just a few steps of for example, few steps out of the house and you're panicking to kingdom come. Okay, your mood swings are more extreme than usual. You're having suicidal thoughts. Okay, so for me as a mental health counselor and practitioner, I screen. Whenever a client comes in, I do an assessment. Okay, and one of the things I do is a risk assessment. Okay, how are they doing? Do they have support? Are they isolated? Okay, so like what Vanitha has shared about her friend. Okay, um, uh, it's actually a common thing I hear. Like suddenly, people who are functioning normally pre-pandemic, they're shocked to see that their balcony, the knife, is so tempting. Those bottle of pills are so tempting. The alcohol bottles are very interesting. What can I do with it? So first and foremost, you know, by normalizing, number one, normalizing reaching out to share those experiences is important. Okay. Um, as a professional, more or less, we are like that last stage lah, where really cannot already, right? Or like 3/4 cannot already, so they come to us. Some of them more or less like 1/4 already, like they feel something is off, they come to us. But for the rest, you know, for community leaders and for the ladies listening here, okay, you more or less you are also like the informal frontliners in this, because they come and approach you and say, look, I have something. And they don't say straight away, hey, I'm feeling suicidal. No, they say, I'm feeling quite down. So it's important to master the art of listening and listening well, listening without judgment. Okay. And even internally, you feel like, oh my God, you're panicking inside. This is where calmness and composure matters. Okay. And it's where you take a deep breath in and exhale. I said, okay, let me go and check with my networks, my resources. Okay. So this is why help in general is important. Okay. And help is not seen as a singular entity, but help is a network. So reaching out to your networks is important, because somehow or other they form this really strong support system on a lifeline at this very curious time. And finally, to add on to what Vanitha has mentioned about the trauma that we are all experiencing, and what Shobah mentioned, the collective consciousness, the collective energy of this, we are more or less the first or second generation living through a pandemic in these modern times. Our elders may have gone through, maybe this is the second or third time going through a global scale change, a collective trauma, I would say. Okay, so it's okay if you're not as productive as you used to be, because we are all living through trauma together as a collective. So back to you, June.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that's very bracing for me to hear from the three of you, in the sense of it is really something that we need to take into account. The next question actually takes what we've said in this question further into a bit more of a personal undertaking, and of what you can do from your part and then moving forward. So I always believe in the analogy of giving oxygen to yourself before you can give oxygen to others. So I've spent the last, I think we all go through these phases and stages in our lives, and I think I've put myself forward now more so than anything. Yes, I'm in service for others, but to be the best version of myself, to serve others, I must completely love myself and put myself first, which is what I've been doing now, and I lead by example. And the rest of you know how much I love myself. Yes, okay, but it comes from a point where it is my strength, it is my foundation. So this next question is like, how has depression affected any of you? How did you personally go forward? So this thing, up to a certain point with Win, in fact, I have project a certain very strong persona of myself, and I think I've been doing fairly well on that part. However, the last two situations were two bazaars. Okay, so I live and breathe by these bazaars that I organize, and there's two bazaars now that have been postponed and carried forward to the future time and place because of, and so that really wore me down. I mean, there's anything else could have happened, and I would have just said, okay, that's life. But when things are effect when I am serving others, when a lot of people are expecting me, and basically, I would say that they look up to me, and to deliver something which is very significant, which is going to be for the singular and collective rice bowl of this community. It really affected me, because not once, but not I mean, basically not once but twice, and then now I'm thinking, no more, not again. I'm definitely wanting to do this. But it really weighed me down. I mean, for the first time in a long time, I felt and I said to myself, okay, give yourself an allowance that one day is only what you can, because I'm such a strong alpha ox. Okay, so this is my time to really say, get out of those doldrums. But then I'm thinking, not everybody can be as strong. Not everybody can be as able to take themselves out and forward. And so how I really got forward is really going back to what I know of myself and my Melanie has given me a Reiki session, I think middle of last year, and she's a wonderful healer, and she really gave me some grounding. So for me, going forward, I get these pockets of advisory from Reiki or massage or meditation. I get little pockets, and that gets me forward. But I know that it's going to build up and deeper and deeper. And I've been telling even Vanitha and Shobah, and I tell myself, I need some help. I need some further grounding, some professional help. I think, because I think I need some going forward. So I think that's going to be. So Melanie, I might even reach out to you, but I found out there's a lot of resources out there, and I want to look at also pilot testing some of these resources, and I will, of course, get back to everybody else. I'm always about that, sharing my experiences. But I think, yes, I would want to go forward. I owe it to myself and to those I love and to those I serve that I must do something to get better. This is something I really, really want to hold myself accountable for. So for the rest of you, and I'll start with Melanie firstly and move to Shobha and Vanitha also. What do you think you can do to, how has depression even affected any of you or any of the persons in your family? And how did you personally go forward? I'd like to hear from any one of you, starting with Melanie first.
Okay, thank you, June. Okay, so personally, mental health has been a major forefront in my development as a person. Okay, so being a caregiver, a caretaker of family members who have mental illness, and also as a patient myself. Okay, I was not diagnosed, but I knew that I had exhibited symptoms of depression and anxiety. There were a few times where I've actually attempted suicide before in my younger years. So I was also under medication, and I lived through the whole process from the adaptation to the medication up to the compliance and working closely with the psychiatrist. So that was and then after I incorporated energy healing into part and parcel of my self-care package lah, because I think after an attempt 5 years ago, I decided, Melanie, you gotta sort your stuff out, or else the next round you're gonna succeed. So I'm like, okay. So it has given me a deeper understanding of myself as I've grown into a person that has been very gentle, that's been practicing gentleness, okay, towards all of my internal processes. Okay. How did I personally go forward is just basically that snap of the moment where I say, you know what, there's got to be a way out of this. There's a pattern, there must be a way. And so, because I decided that I matter as a person, I matter. And so I actually took baby steps. So the keyword here is one step at a time. I've explored so many things as well. And um, like everyone else, okay, I'm still a work in progress. So if there's one thing that I would share is that I took my time. I actually listened to myself to see what resonates with me, and accepted the fact that in every stage of my evolution, certain ways, certain self-care, certain ways of doing self-care, certain connections do not work anymore. So I truly empathize and understand, yeah, when at this point of time in the pandemic, where people say that they're feeling depressed or they're feeling more anxious than usual, and or for those who just started their medication, complying with medication is one of the biggest challenges, actually, from my experience. And just monitoring themselves and trying to figure out how to move forward with that. I truly empathize, understand. So if there's one tip I would say is that it's just a moment in time. It's not the end of your life. Okay, it's just a next stage of your life, and you will still come back to yourself. You still have yourself. Right? You still are yourself. It's just in a different filter for a while. So back to you, June.
Okay, Melanie. I mean, I'm really, really, I'm so overwhelmed with the fact that you've shared something so deep, and it's taken such courage, and I'm so it's amazing. It's amazing hearing from you what you've gone through.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, I mean, this is my heart to you. I personally went and got a heart for you, and to say that I would give you a virtual hug. All of us would give you hugs and virtual hugs, and when I see you next, I'm going to give you the biggest hug ever. And it's amazing what you've shared with me and what you've gone through to come forward. I mean, it makes what I feel really like, I'm really in awe. I mean, you are amazing, and I thank you so much for sharing that. What say you? What say you, the rest of you, Shobah and Vanitha, also to Melanie on her sharing?
That's it. Big
Okay.
heart, big heart. Because I know, I've been there. I've been there.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. I mean, it's still resonating with me that, you know, this is the amazing thing about, the women I meet every day. What I go through in context of what others go through gives me such a huge, big picture to say that I mean, I always feel bad feeling sorry for myself, sometimes. I mean, there's always a guilt factor when I know others are struggling. A queen and a champion now, and you've gone further to unleash your potential in moments of despair. I mean, that's amazing to me. That is truly inspirational. So I really thank you, Melanie, for sharing that. You're wonderful.
Oh
Amazing,
my God.
amazing.
Thank
So
you.
with that, I'd like to ask, I would say, Vanita, to share with me, how has depression affected you, and how did you personally go forward?
I think for me, it was just really a lot of childhood trauma as well, a lot of unresolved issues, going through all that. And coming from the Asian kind of context of family, where everything is swept to the carpet, as long as on the onset it's all good, we just smile and be happy, 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 joy, joy kind of thing. And then a lot of stuff started unraveling as things went on. I think my major thing came when I had my son, because my postnatal wasn't just postnatal for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It was going on for like a whole year, and then it went on and it went on. I'm like, what is going on? I'm having all the suicidal thoughts and all these things. I've just had a child and I'm not reaching out. And then I realized there was a lot of other issues that was just popping up. And then I also had a thyroid condition. I was hypothyroid, diagnosed as hypothyroidism. So everything, my levels of my hormone levels were all going crazy. And then I had my second child, and it just kind of accumulated and accumulated and accumulated. And I honestly thought I was going crazy, seriously thought, oh my God, I'm really mental. At that time, you don't get that kind of tools to be able to help you, because the people around you are telling you the same thing. You're mental, if something is really wrong with you, go get, help, or, I don't know what's wrong with you. So as time went on, there's just a lot of other issues that just kept popping up, because I hadn't dealt with the actual trauma, the built up trauma, right? So it's just a lot of other issues. You end up just moving in directions, meeting people, connecting with people that are so wrong for you, because you don't know better, and that's what you think it's going to be, your help. But then you just add that on, and I've gone through it, like Melanie says, I've gone through that deep, 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 deep dark hole, not attempting it, but thinking of it, thinking of it, thinking of it, thinking of it, thinking so much about it. And some days not getting out of bed, and then you live with people and they don't get what you're going through. What are you sitting down and lying in bed for, like, and here you are running a company, doing the things you have to do, and then people are going, but you're so put together, how can you be going through this? So you have to kind of live up to the Jonases, right? And gotta go out there and go, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm all right, every day I'm fine. You got to force yourself, get dressed, go out there, be the boss, do whatever you need to do, deal with clients, bring the money home, be the mom, be the wife, be everything. And then you can only do it so much. So I think when the whole pandemic hit, it just hit me as well, like a ton of bricks, and it was the best thing that happened to me, really, really the best thing that happened to me. I have, I think, finally found me, finally found me. I think what the pandemic did for me, the very first lockdown did for me, is gave me time. I didn't have to keep run. It gave me time. Finally, I had time. I had time for myself to start really taking stock of me. Like June says, you got to love yourself. And that wasn't something I was doing. I was loving the whole world but myself, and I was trying to live up to everyone but myself. And I thought, enough, enough is enough. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do anything anymore. I mean, I've split up for my marriage. I am very happy. I've got my 2 kids who stood by me like rock. But you know what's the great thing? I thought going through all that, I look back and I thought, I must have been a crap mom. But honestly, during the pandemic, I realized, look at my kids, and they stood by me like pillars. I was like, whoa, I must have done something right, something right. And if I don't take stock of my life, if I don't get better, if I don't do the things I want to do, how can I be better for them? I want to be able to, here we are talking about all these things, right? I've been seeing a counselor too. I've been reading a lot. I've been talking to really dear friends who really kind of put, they really put sense into me from a place of love. It wasn't a place of judgment. It wasn't a place of, I know better. It wasn't a place of anything. And funnily enough, the moment I let go of all this, things that are pent up and built up, I started finding friends who were really tight, who were supportive, who were really like the true tribe. The friends who were just fluff left, and that's what will happen, right? Because you suddenly get your tribe behind you that's going to fight this with you. And it's exactly why I started my web series as well, Raw and Uncut. And I tell you, I did a topic on mental health, and it got the highest viewing. It got, I think, 5,000. It's still going. It got the highest viewing, because everyone just resonated. And we're talking to real people who have been through the deep down hole, people who really kind of, attempted suicide, thought of suicide, gone through depression, come out of it. And some are still struggling, are really struggling. So if we have gone through it and we can understand it, we can reach out better as well, because we understand it firsthand. I get it. I get when people say they're depressed. I get when people say they can't get out of bed. I get when people say they think suicidal thoughts. I get when people say they want to jump off their balcony. I get it. I so get it, because it resonates with me. And I honestly, I surround myself with good people now. I've cut off toxicity, and I really kind of put myself in a very good place. Yes, there are days I do want to get out of bed, and that's okay. I tell myself it's okay. It's all right. If I want to stay in bed for 2 days, it's fine. If I don't want to answer my phone calls, it's fine. If I don't want to be on social media, it's fine. If I don't want to do stuff, it's fine. If I want to journal on social media, it's fine too. If people don't like it, they don't like it. If people like it, they do. Because we cannot please the world. We cannot please the world, not currently. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vanitha. And you're right. Put yourself first. Recognize the signs, and seek your own ways of resolution and solutions. And I think cutting off the fat of toxicity and surrounding yourself with and I'm so on with you with the fact that, the last 2 days I've been like a sloth. Okay, I've been just moving around from one room to another. I've been having a binge of like horror movies. I've been so scared out of the wits of my mind last night because I've gone through like a few, The Conjuring, Emily Rose. I don't know why I went on this binge, and then I started to imagine with my overactive imagination. But the point is, who cares? So what? If we're having fun, if we're not having fun, the choice is in your hands, and you have to please no one in that sense, right? So I think, yeah, one thing about this MCO is we're really going to be looking at ways of just pleasing yourself, because you don't have any other distraction. This monkey mind still has to find some appeasement, but you are still the captain of your ship. And I really love that how you've said that, Vanitha, with such aplomb. Wonderful, wonderful. So Shobah, what is it that also you have went through personally in terms of depression? Share.
Tell your story.
And I have these hearts for all of you, which I'm also sending
thank you.
my double hearts. So share, please.
Okay, like what Vanitha said, and even we said, these things don't come suddenly. They have always been with us from the time we were probably in our mother's womb. That's why I do a lot of womb healing as well. So womb healing ritual is not just for sex and stuff like that, but it actually has a lot of things to do, like from the time that you have been conceived in your mom's womb. From then on, whatever your mom goes through, you take it on as well. It's all energy. Again, the vibration. Your mom goes through a depression. If your mom has been through an abusive relationship, then the the fetus gets it as well. So this is a given from a very young stage. Okay, and then we just add on, and the baggage keeps getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and we just don't know what to do with it, especially if you are younger. And we are. I mean, I was born in the 70s, and I think three of you, I don't know, Melanie, I'm not sure, but
sorry, honey, 60s baby. Sorry, 60s.
Sorry. So I couldn't replace you. So we were not allowed to speak. Now, some families, they were more liberal, but in a lot of families, we were not able to, even have an identity to start with. We've always been like, you have to do like this, you have to do like this, blah, blah, blah. So everything just carries on and on until you realize one day, what's happening to me? Why am I breaking down? Why am I having suicidal thoughts? Why am I having palpitations? Why am I having panic attacks? It's not an overnight. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to understand, sit a while. That's why I always say go within you, because when you sit a while and you think about what is happening to you, if you have a pain, I've had this pain for the longest time, and I know it's from my childhood trauma. I didn't know this earlier, but I knew it when I started doing some work on myself, okay, and some guided meditation. I started realizing this was carried from childhood, and no matter how many doctors I saw, it just couldn't help me. So these are what we call psychosomatic symptoms. It's not going to be helped by any medication. The medication is within you yourself. And that's why I love NLP. It says that you have within you all the resources that you need. So now first is understanding. And I started understanding it a bit late, but it's better late than never. There was one time I just felt, because you guys have been so open, and this is the conversation is meant to be that from heart to heart. I look at it from this realm rather than the mind. And I'm saying this. I thought I had a mild stroke or something. I didn't know what was happening. I had the screen totally from this side. And that day I had to deliver in a meeting at 2 p.m. And this happened like around 11 something. Things was not going, and this was not long back. It was not during the pandemic, but it was not very long back. And I thought, okay, I'm probably going to die. And I was alone in my house. And all I did was just go within and I just did some meditation. And I prayed. So I prayed to the Lord that I was connected to. And I just screamed and screamed and I cried. And I allowed myself to just cry, 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 and nothing else but that. After a couple of minutes, I think maybe about 15 to 20 minutes, I just realized this is the fact of life. What the heck? Please excuse my lingo here, but what the heck are we so worried about building bank balances, working like mental, like getting so worked up about every single thing when this is a reality. When you're going to drop dead, you're just going to drop dead, babe. That's about it. And then from there, I made a decision. So everyone who goes through anything needs to come to terms with that. And the day you make a decision, that's the day things are going to start working for you. Whether to decide to see a professional, to decide to go into meditation, into spiritual, to find a guru, which is what precisely I did. Okay? You could do anything like that. The tools are always there. Are you open to accept it? Are you sorted out away from this ego and just say that we come with nothing, we go with nothing. Whatever that happens in between is an experience. We all come here to learn and to evolve and to learn lessons, and that's what this whole life to me is about. And ever since I've made that decision, people tell me you look prettier, skin is glowing. This, I mean, good. I mean, skincare, so that also helps. See, I could see that vibration, that aura, within me. And where was this aura all the while? It was within us, but we did not allow. So I tell to all my sisters all the time, allow, 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 and everything within the divine forces will just work within you. And since you are a female, you can nurture, you can give so much. Female can give so much to the world, to the society, to our fellow friends, families. And you can just advise your spouse, even if he's mine is an alpha, by the way. Not so proud about it, but that's
I
a
thought
fact.
you were the alpha.
I'm the meow meow. So
I'll take
being
your
with,
word for it.
being with this kind of alpha, but you can slowly but surely, make changes within yourself, and they start noticing it, and they will start reciprocating according to them. This is the biggest lesson. And when the pandemic came, yes, I was a little worried. How am I going to pay my staff more than myself, and this nasi lemak thing, but I knew I was going to do that. So that's basically my job.
Okay, you gotta
Okay,
stop talking
wonderful.
about this nasi lemak so much, lah. You gotta start making and sending to our house.
Yeah,
I
nah,
can't.
we
Like
have
too
to have
many.
a special function to
It's on
look
our
at
next
this and
our
our
next
next
birthday, okay?
meditation.
Cannot,
Yeah,
cannot.
next meditation. Melanie, you also invited to the meditation. All of us, all of you. Let's come and eat Kanakalama. So wonderful. But I mean, thank you, Shobha, for sharing and about the positive vibrations, and it's basically also law of attraction and the karma or the karmic energies that we send out there. It's all about how we balance that out. And it's taken you a lot of I mean, it's a very humbling sense, what you're sharing with us, your humility to even start another business, a food business, a lot of us had to like dig deep and look at falling into this vortex of not knowing what to do or depression. So I think that's really sending out a strong signal. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. Yeah. So the last question, actually the final question, which we're going to take, and then we're also going to look at some of the comments later, is something that also ties it on to all together with all of us here. And when you look at this question which I'm going to ask, and it's tied in, like, how would you like to help others get mentally better? What are sources and resources you can recommend for mental health and wellness? And I'd like to answer this question primarily, firstly, before I go to the rest of you. Now, when it comes to, getting helping others to get mentally better. For Win and for a lot of the reach outs, because I mentor and take conversations or calls from chat groups. I mean, from chats and WhatsApp from a variety of our members, and there's always reach outs on a fairly regular basis. And I think I always give them very similar and our emotions. So when we decide we want to react to someone, it is not actually that person making us that way. We choose the emotion that we want. And when you're saying like that person makes me feel angry, I'm depressed because of what that person did, it is actually nothing to do with what that person has done or seemingly has done to you. It is our choice of whether we want to get upset, angry, happy. We're all in charge of our emotions. So we're the only persons who can really, influence our own emotions. So the thing is not allowing others to do that, because we need to be very, very clear and real about what is it that we can do to influence ourselves. So I would say firstly is really, really being attuned and building into your intuition of yourself. So I always go on that basis, and I always tell them, control what you can. Control your feelings and your reactions in your own realm. You can never control others. You can only influence and persuade them. So those are like some of the trajectories I do. However, I need to be very sort of like neutral when I'm handling a lot of the questions and the queries out there. And today I was handling someone who was reaching out to me and she was depressed, but there was another root of the issue which I could also help her from a HR person, a human resource. It was more of a legal and a HR situation. So I helped her on that, and I realized that it's interrelated. Sometimes you've got to break down the issues between what is really the cause, the root cause analysis. Why are you depressed? And it is basically something that's happening in their personal and professional life. So from that aspect, I try to break it down and I get them to really see things. And then when I feel that there's no more or much I can do, then I start referring them to, because there's red flags in behavior where they're fairly stubborn, they don't want to move forward, they are self-diagnosing and they think they know all the answers. So for that reason, I know I'm not the professional to help them. So then I start forwarding them on to real mental wellness. And as you know, I've posted in Our Voices and Win the range of help, which ranges from as little as pay as you want to 50 ringgit to 100 ringgit to 250 ringgit an hour. If you're going to go and get a meal, a massage, a new handbag, you can damn well afford getting your own help, okay, before you start spending that money. So I'm going to tell this. My tough love is that I'm going to say this until the cows come home, until I get horse. If you can afford this, you better get ready. You better get well, okay? Because we can only do so much. We can lead them to the water. If they're not going to be taking care of themselves, then you have to leave them to the devices of that. But of course, if there's further red flags of suicidal talk and so on, we need to alert the authorities. We need to get the right people in there. Okay. And if there's any abuse of others, also we have to get the authorities in. So that's my full spectrum of answering where and how we can get people also very, very interesting inputs to that question. So I'd like to start with Shobah, and then we'll go to Vanitha and finally to Melanie on this question of how would you like to help others get mentally better? What are resources and sources you can recommend for mental health and wellness?
Okay, thank you, June. So first thing is, I've already started this, but I haven't really like, publicized it much. It's not something that I've started like doing a live or whatsoever, but it's something about letting go and cutting off the cords. So this is the cords that we're talking about is what's that holding you behind and all those toxic memories, including what's happening right now, the pandemic and the whole thing. So we have to make a kind of a session where how do you let go and then how do you reaffirm, which means you realign your mindset, move on further. With all that thing that's pulling you back, with all the baggage that's pulling you back, letting go is a very important tool. So that's something that I wanted to even speak on Win soon with talking after talking to you. And then more on affirmations and a little bit on journaling. Why journaling? As you yourself mentioned, there is an underlying situation, but there's a lot of other aspects that is actually boosting it, and that person could only see that. So when you go within yourself, and I definitely advocate meditation for this, when you go within yourself and then you start, the messages start coming to you. I know it might sound a bit airy fairy, but please just bear with me because this is subtle energies we're talking about. So everything that there is, you already know, but you probably your subconscious knows it, but your conscious mind doesn't know. So how do you bring that? So meditation helps that relaxation, and like what Melanie said, taking a deep breath and all, just like your pranayama or whatever you want to do. But as long as you take deep breaths, inhale, exhale, and those things, it actually grounds you, and then you're more prepared. Your peripheral vision is something that is going to guide you, just not your eyes, because your eyes are just going to do. It's just a simple tool. So your peripheral vision and your subconscious mind together will actually lead you out to these things. So these things don't really need money if you look at it. For some
Yeah.
people have economic, conditions and problems. They might be worried to go out to see somebody. But of course, there is a lot of different price scale, like what you said, and some people don't take money. But that aside, these are things that you can do because nobody's going to be 24/7 available to see you and talk to you because they have their entire life as well. So what if you could also, complement and do these things with the tools that you already have, which is free of charge, and you go into this YouTube, you go into this social media, you find thousands of it, just use those, trust the process, and then start journaling. Then you will see what is actually your problem. Was it your relationship problem only after the pandemic? Nah, I don't think so. It's been there. It has already been there. This is a very superb timing for it to just burst out like a volcano eruption, right? So then we say, oh, because pandemic, I can't see his face every day. If he doesn't jump off the balcony, I will jump off the balcony. And then the words that we use during this kind of situation is also very important. Words have power. Every single word. That's why we say affirmation is so important. So how do we do affirmations? How do we, create those affirmations? Some people mean something else, and then they actually affirm in a different way. So, like if you watched or read Eat, Pray, and Love, he says that he wanted a big heart. He asked God, give me a big heart, and then he had a very enlarged heart and a hole in a heart. So the universe doesn't understand that. So you need to be very precise. Your words have energy, so always try to be in control of those. So these are the kind of things that I could actually assist because I'm already doing it for me and a circle of friends, and it's really doing good. Yeah, I can tell you from what I have gone through, it's really something to try. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shobha. And you're right. I mean, there's such affordable components out there. I mean, when I was feeling down, I had two wonderful sessions of YouTube. I looked at these two particular sessions on stress and anxiety meditation. The soothing sounds of Tila Ramachandran on Win Group. She's been doing daily sessions. She's amazing. I think everyone should go in and listen. She's at 10 o'clock every night. We have these wonderful resources. We have wonderful people helping us everywhere. It's just that we have to take it. We have to take it and we have to do something with it rather than wait for things to happen. So you are the captain of your ship in that way. So wonderful, Shobha. So I'd like to get feedback from Vanitha on how you would like to help others get help in terms of sources and resources also.
Thanks, Jude. So basically, it's very simple. I think number one, we have to understand that, if someone comes to me, the severity of what they're going through, if we have a scale, what are they going through? Are they going through as severe? And I'm sure Melanie will agree with me. You can do, your meditations, you can do all that stuff, but then some people may have really deep issues, very deep issues, that you really, really need to go get professional help. And here again, professional help, there's also all types of professional help. You have your psychiatrists, your psychologists, your clinical therapists, you have your counselors, and so on. So know which category you need to go. If you don't know, then ask. You have groups like Our Voices, you have groups like WIN, just, write and ask, and I think that number one should be the priority here. Know the severity of what you're going through, and then know the right type of help you should get. Yes, you can reach out to friends. We are all here. There's a lot of people on the group as well. I know many people on the Our Voices and putting up amazing codes. Thank you so much. It's been really good. But again, that's only so much we can do to help. If there is more, then you need to go seek help. And yeah, talk to someone. It's so important. I do that constantly. I try my very best to have me moments. Like I said, if there's days I don't feel like doing anything, I don't. They say it's not like the world is going to lose anything if you just don't do it a day. The world still spins. So just drop everything and just take your time, read more, understand, watch YouTube videos. I'm sure a lot of professionals out there can put up more free videos, more free, tools out there for a lot of people to be able to listen to and understand. A lot of things, yes, they cost money, but not necessarily right now. Everything, there's a lot of tools out there that doesn't cost money at all. And the other thing is you must want to go for help, and you must want to get help. Okay, if you have someone in your life or anything that you think that needs help, you cannot drag them to go get help. They need to have that understanding and clarity of mind to want to go get help. The same thing with you. You cannot just say, oh, I think I'm okay, I'm fine, yesterday was bad, but the last 5 days is okay. But if it keeps recurring, then you need help. You need to go get the help. Again, I said, we all are somewhat depressed. We all have unresolved issues in our life. And again, like Shobah said, all that, it's not necessarily that it suddenly happened because of pandemic. It is all there. The pandemic just kind of opened up those doors, and so it just kind of came up and popped up. So yeah, I really think everybody should do something, and we all can band together and help each other. And we have Our Voices. Continue doing that, continue seeking, continue asking, continue reaching out. Please do that. If you ever have any suicidal thoughts, World Health Organization has said there is a suicide happening every 40 seconds. Now that's scary. That is very scary. And this is 2019, I think, fact. The sources, and I think 2019, I think the stats. So I don't know how, I don't know what's going on right now. So yeah, it's scary. And please, 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 please reach out, watch. If you're in a better place, help. That's all you can do. Help, help, help. Be kind, be empathetic, be supportive. We don't have any class at the moment to actually say, oh, you are there and you are there. Like June in our famous lines, you are Atas and I'm Bawa and all that. No, there's none of those things. We're all here, So, yep, please.
Advocating for everyone to come out and get help. And I think, yeah, we're doing, and I'm seeing greater inroads because we're removing all this stigma and this shame. There is no shame in what you are doing. There is absolutely nothing, and I've got a lot of people who came to me wanting for me to post anonymous on Win and so on. And I said, there is absolutely no shame, and you have to do it because that is going to be your strength, and no one else can do it but you. And so some have pursued that, some have refrained, but I think they will eventually get to that point of coming forward. So wonderful. Thank you, Vanitha. And Shobah, Melanie. Sorry, Melanie. Yes, I'm so excited that sometimes I just forget myself. So Melanie, please share with me, what is your take on sources and resources for getting better? What can you advocate?
What can I advocate? So while I was listening to both Shobah and Vanitha, both of what you mentioned is already part of that, what I wanted to say already, where basically you have a lot of resources available. The only task that you need to do is just Google. Mr. Google, Uncle Google is our good friend.
Yeah.
All right. And there are free resources. Yeah. One thing I see is that a lot of the mental health facilities, they have their own social media handles, and they be giving tips. Okay, practical tips. So follow them. And some of them, they do have this program where we can pay for sessions with a reduced fee. So there is help. The only thing is you just need to ask. Okay, so two things that came to my mind. Okay, first, in terms of resources, um, this is in case of emergency, you have someone or you know someone that is what I call very suicidal, has a plan, concrete plan. The plan is very little, and there has a time frame or has a tendency to be very impulsive, to attempt and complete the suicide. You can actually admit him or her at the emergency ward. You can call the police or you can call the ambulance. Okay, this also applies for those who are going through psychosis. Okay, even despite the pandemic that's going on, the emergency services are still working. Okay, so this is one thing that a tip that I can share. The second thing is this: remain calm and grounded and collected. Because when we are calm, we we are grounded, we relax our nervous systems and we allow our higher order thinking, our prefrontal cortex or prefrontal, look, the seat of higher order thinking, to take charge and say, look here, we have resources. There is a better solution. Okay. And the second thing, I would say, to connect with that, remember, people model people. We as social beings, we model each other. Okay.
Yeah.
For parents with children, okay, remember your kids are watching how you're responding during this pandemic. Okay. And they're seeing you as a source of comfort. Um, I I do truly understand and empathize that having kids in a home with nowhere to go, and only faced with a laptop and this kid and so much of energy that spent up, yes, equals headache, trouble. Okay, sometimes words just fail me, but it's like, okay. So remember, the children, they're also facing uncertainty. Okay, they're also uncertain on how to respond. So they look at you as models on how to regulate their own nervous system, regulate their own emotions. Okay, so it is your responsibility as parents. This is where I'll put my foot down. It's your responsibility as parents to seek help. Okay, if you really need to support yourself, because your children will model you. All right. And finally, pay it forward. Pay it forward in kindness. Okay. Kindness shifts a lot of things. Compassion shifts a lot of things. If you are able to see how beautiful it is, okay, send a love, like drop a love or a like in a Facebook post, little things, okay, and you see that you feel better and you've made someone's life better, and it will just accumulate and multiply. Yeah, so basically that is the recommendations I have. So back to you, June.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melanie and Shobha and Vanitha. And Melanie, thank you very much on the I think that's, I've actually put in the any suspected suicide, please call the suicide helpline. We have the numbers there. We've also got some befrienders are there. You can call
The website details are there.
the police and the emergency of any local hospital, and you can take said person who has that plan in hand to for that immediate emergency attendance, right? So I think that's important, and we have posted a lot of links, and I will continue to do the same in this and in this also, about what kind of help can be sought. And in the meantime, we've also shared some very good tips and techniques of meditation. I think even yoga and some wellness, and finding your own areas of, and the thing is, it's amazing also. I think all of us have our little spots in our home, because we're at home presently. So I have my spot right behind me, and I like how all of you are standing in your spots, your sanctuaries at home. And now is the time to enhance these sanctuaries, to also find respite for yourself in spaces that you can call your home. once in the next 2 weeks. And if there's an extension of that, no more than 4 weeks, I heard, and I hope, then this is our sanctuary for the long term, because we have to be able to come back to these sanctuaries at any time and seek that respite. But yes, thank you very much from all of you. You've given some really good sound advice. And what we're planning to do is, once we launch our Win HQ, which is towards the end of the month, we had planned initially like a support circle, Vanitha and myself. And I think this is not just a one-off situation here with this our conversation, and also with our voices. We want to take it into an actual physical in-person support group, and we would like to look at some greater inroads to support everyone holistically on a monthly gathering at our Win HQ. I have a space for at least 20 to 25 people, and who can come and go as they wish, and we can basically share some And I would like all of you ladies, I know Vanitha will be there, and I would really want also Shobah and Melanie and other psychologists and other counselors and other therapists and other energy healers to come forward during these sessions, and also hear and be the soundboard to the women there, women and men. We invite them with open arms, and I will share that initiative on Win and Our Voices later. But the point is, this is an ongoing journey together. This is a collective that will not just stop with this session here. We are kickstarting a movement that will also look at deeper inroads to take care of each other. So that's coming your way. So that's some of the future plans, and also just what we're going to be doing to help in terms of sources and resources. We will have a bulletin board also in the Win community, Win HQ Center, to really have these references for people to seek the appropriate help. So that will be an ongoing effort. So that this whole conversation here. So yes, I would like to take some questions also from the chat.
I saw a question. Who's selling nasi lemak? Uma asked.
Uma, always asking questions lah. Yes. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of thank you for sharing. Thank you for very informative. So I think we have had a lot of thoughts and ideas, tips and techniques covered, which resonate with our viewers here, and will continue to resonate for those who want to watch the replay. That's been wonderful. Okay. So anything else that any of you would also like to add? I mean, to add to this, anything that we haven't covered, and you think that as part of the resolve of it's okay not to be okay, what else do you think that you'd like to highlight here and share with our viewers? If anybody would like to say something.
I just think like just more. We need just a lot more people to come in and support us on this. Especially the professionals. You just to kind of put out your services out there, because we need all that. We need as much help as possible. And if you are going to, this is the thing. Sometimes I feel like we write really nothing stuff on Facebook, and it gets a lot more likes and attention. And then we write things that really matter, and no one even gives a poop about it, right? So, really at the end of the day, I mean, come on, people, we can do better, lah. We need to talk about these issues more, lah. Not about, all that stuff that doesn't matter. We're living in a very different time. So come on, if you see these things, support more, share, do whatever. We need, again, we need everybody's support. Everybody needs our support right now. So please,
Well, I would like to disagree somewhat with.
Okay, go ahead.
Of people with their challenges and the mental wellness issues, they have actually gotten far more likes and comments and engagement than the food posts and the sales posts. I must emphasize that on Win, I have noticed that whenever someone shares their deep, heartfelt challenges or stories, there's an outpouring of love and support, and that has definitely happened. However, what I hear of you is that I see I don't really see perhaps the professional counselors, and maybe it's because of the challenges of their profession, where they cannot advertise or they cannot seek or solicit, because it is the client or the patient or the person who needs help to reach out. You can't reach out to one person. Maybe that is the challenges of the profession. If do I stand corrected on that, Melanie? That basically you cannot seek a person out in your profession. They must come to you. They must seek help from you. Is that correct?
So to answer, we don't actively promote our services to one person like how we do in F&B and other forms
Yes.
of
Yes.
industry. But what we can do is that we can just share that we have these services. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have any promotions, we can, or if any programs, we can. Okay, you contact lah. You contact.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it depends on the person's free will. You see, so we don't
Right.
really impose.
Yes.
Only when the person comes in and agrees, gives consent to our services, and then of course we are more than are willing, to assist
Yeah.
the patient or the client in whatever way that we can. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's and I find that there are some who in the post will say, I'm a counselor, I'm a psychologist, I'm a life coach, call me, contact me. That's when there's a specific question for that. People will respond. But when
Yes. Yes.
there's a story and say, I think you need help, because I would read through some of these stories, and they seem presumptive. So maybe some of this these type of qualified counselors, psychologists, they still await the reach outs from said persons who are writing this very very heartfelt messages. So I think there is a bit of a conundrum. There's a bit of a gray area as to who can initiate and who can who and for the person to also seek help, because there's also still that stigma. But from your experience now, I mean, do you think there is fine one, there's a greater awareness, but do you think that people also are starting to begin to reach out and invest and be committed to a path forward to help themselves? Do you see that, Melanie?
Yes, definitely. I guess like what Vanitha and Shobah has shared in the previous questions, the pandemic basically gave us time and time to reflect, time to think.
Mm.
It's like a huge stop sign for many, okay, and a huge direction for others. So what I see is that people reaching out because they know that um, it's time. It's time
Mhm.
for them to really look into their life in a way um, that can help them untie or untangle certain knots so that they can move forward. Okay,
Okay, good.
so there is a proactiveness. This is one thing
Very,
I'll say.
very good.
Um, yeah.
Yes. So, okay, that's very, because you have that confidentiality of your clients, and you. But I'm sure you've observed a trend and pattern that is becoming more mainstream. I mean, these things have been off stream and stigmatized for no reason, but of course it's cultural, and there's a lot more context as to why that's happened. So moving forward, I'm just really happy to hear that there are people seeking help, and we will continue. Vanita, myself, and and the rest of us, I mean, we have a lot of people who are very proactive in gently navigating people forward. I think that's something that we're doing. I think Vanita and I are the huge advocates here, together with Shobha, where when we hear to collectively, actually, when we see red flags, we're like, okay, my dear, I think you need to go this way or that way. We actually give them the sources, we give them phone numbers, we give them names, and rather than just like websites and all that, we're actually building a repertoire, and I'm starting to have these sources at hand. And I think people are definitely taking charge and doing something. I think that's very important. But I just hope that there is, and as what all of you have said, we have to have build the legacy of our children, our families looking at us to remain and stay well, because we are an impact. We are mothers and women. I find we are the heart of a household, and everybody's looking at us for direction. So we need to be able to be strong to put that forward, and but at the same time, it's also a shared responsibility
Yeah.
to also be part of this journey for our children.
Yeah. Just to
Something that,
add as
that
well, June, just to
yeah.
add as well, I think a lot of times when we are also, we've kind of healing and we've gotten the help and everything, and then trying to help another is kind of another healing process as well. It is actually very nice. It's a nice process to be able to have been through all that pain and to be able to reach out to another person and help. It kind of, really does kind of help yourself as well. I know I find that happening to me. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, wonderful. Yes, paying it forward and influencing others to take the necessary action is really really rewarding. It's rewarding to
Yeah.
be part of their journey of healing together, and that's something I think we all do. We feed off the success of their success. That's basically it. There's nothing that we want out of them except to get better, to be the best version of themselves. So wonderful. So before we're coming to the end now of this really insightful, great session with the three of you. Any final comments and to round off this session? So I'll start with actually at this point anyone can have a chance to start off this parting or summarizing of their own situation here. So anyone would like to start?
Well, I'll just say it in one word. Just everyone just has to do one thing: make decisions. That's the
Okay.
starting point.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Short and succinct and to the point. Okay, wonderful. Just like your nasi lemak, I'm sure. Okay. Next, anyone would like to
Yeah, I just I
close
just
off?
want to say I just want to say to everyone that again, I think I've repeated this. We are all in the same boat. We're in different waves, but we're all in the same boat. So please reach out. At any time. There is no stigma to it. It is becoming so common right now. Almost every other person is going through something or other. The levels may be different, but we all are. So just reach out. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And Melanie, what are your final comments on this?
You matter. All your
Okay.
decisions up to this point of time matters. So by even tuning into this StreamYard or even deciding to watch the replay, you've essentially shifted your future. So love yourself a little bit more today and watch magic happens. Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm typing this all as we speak. Watch the magic happen. Yes, I totally believe. I mean, when I think about how Win has really enriched my perspective by meeting all these wonderful people who have taught me so much, and nothing that has come out of it has been negative. I mean, every single touch point, everything has been a crash course and a very fulfilling course in understanding what's happening on the ground level. But I also feel that, as a community leader, I find that it is challenging to see how can I actually have greater inroads into this area. I'll be honest, as an entrepreneur focused platform like Win, we are focused on empowering people through their entrepreneurial focuses. However, or initiatives. However, when it comes to, I think our voices now an extension of that, because you can only be the best version of yourself in the entrepreneur world if you have got yourself in order, in the sense of managing yourself before you manage others, then you manage the business. So I'm really advocating that trajectory, that has to be addressed first, and then only should you go into business, because if that is not resolved, then you're really in a flux. the challenge will be ongoing to keep yourself balanced. So I think that harmony has to happen. Hence, why I think our voices as a sister group is a conduit, a feed in to win to so with that, I would like to thank all of you, and I think we've come really full circle. We've come full circle, and I for one have been far more enlightened in this. In this, I came into it, with some awareness, some knowledge, some rational context, but I've become much more enlightened as a result of the personal sharing and the way forward from all of you. So with that, I thank you, and I think our viewers are definitely better for it. I thank you very much. So it's been very fruitful, 90 minutes. Wow. And we've taken quite, but I mean, we've really gone much further on this. And thank you. I think Melanie, Shobah, Vanitha, you've all given such valuable comments, tips, techniques, and everything. And I'm looking forward to everyone also benefiting from that. Yeah. So we look forward to our next session on the conversation, where we will have far more and new interesting topics of concern and challenges and so on. And the circle that we're going to launch at the Win HQ in the near future. So stay tuned for that. So with that, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody. Have a great Friday night. In normal circumstances, we'd be out partying, but this is our party today. Okay. So we look forward to the real parties in person once we are back out of the MCO and so on. Yeah. With that, thank you and farewell for the weekend. Have a great weekend. Okay. So
Thank
farewell to
you.
everybody here.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
end the broadcast. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. So ladies, please remain